My dad was a singer. He used to go around and do quartet music with his brothers and sisters way back in the Mississippi days. But he also, he also loved to teach other people to sing. And he was a choir director also. So I remember at one time, man, it was like my dad was like, he was working at the A.L. Smith, he was taking pictures, he was a choir director, he was going to school. I mean, like he was on the go all the time, you know what I mean? And, his passion was people, man. His passion was people, no question about it. And he could teach anyone how to sing. Even people that didn't think they could sing, he would take the time and show them, and he'd pick people for solos and in the choir, and they'd be wondering, why is he picking me? I can't sing. And next thing you know, they end up being this great singer. You know what I mean?
If he decided to select someone to sing a song that was not used to singing, and they would say, I can't do it, Mr. Edwards, I can't do it. Yes, you can. Now say it with me. Yes, you can is the kind of thing he would do. And he just wouldn't take no for an answer. Anybody that felt that they were inadequate in the ability, he was one that would not take an answer. No. And he was one that believed in you so much that you began to believe in yourself.
Yeah, he just knew how to pour into people, man, and he just loved to see people be happy. He did everything he could. Now, he also was a perfectionist. And so sometimes he let you have it because you weren't giving your full potential. He did that to me several times growing up. Man, I can tell you one time in particular, and it seemed like such a small thing to me, but I understand it now. There was one situation where I was probably 16 at the time, because I just got my license. He told me to go get some gas. The time before I went to put gas in, I filled up the tank and I let all of the gas, I filled it and I let all the gas come out of the side, So I didn't want to do that again, so I was afraid. So I went to the full service. They had full service back then. I went to the full service and asked them if they would pump the gas for me. Well, the full service prices were much higher. He would always say, well, make sure you get a receipt. So I take the receipt back and then he says, why is this so high? I said, I had someone else pump it for me because I was afraid. And man, he didn't get mad, he cried. That messed me up, man. It's like, why are you afraid of making a mistake? You know what I mean? He said, make a mistake. He said, the people that are afraid to make mistakes are usually going to end up working for the people that are willing to make mistakes and take a chance. I've kind of made a monster out of me because I've been a risk taker pretty much ever since. He really showed me how to take a chance. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. Go for it. You know what I mean?
His name is Wonderful. He's a wonderful counselor.
He just said you do the verse. I ain't gonna do the verse.
He said he gonna do the verse.
I said I'll go do the verse, but he didn't know. I didn't think he know the verse. But I forgot.
A couple churches specifically he spent a lot of time at. One was Philadelphia Baptist Church. He spent some time there. The Nathaniels were really good friends of ours. They were much older than me, but we became really good friends later. We moved from there. I was like a baby, man. And we moved from there. We went to this Mount Moriah Baptist Church. Pastor Kenneth Athelston Bowen, probably one of the best guys in terms of leaders that I've ever known. And you know what? My dad actually learned a lot from him. Pastor Bowen actually ended up being that for my dad. He was a perfectionist as well. My dad was the choir director, and many people came through there, man. And I can say arguably that probably was one of the best choirs in the city, because my dad would just, one person at a time, take his time and develop people to become good singers. You know what I mean? If he felt they had the heart for it, they could do it. He said, I can teach you how to sing as long as you got the heart for it. If you got the heart and you're willing, I can teach you. You do the work, and I'll help you. And he proved that time and time again. Just brought more courage out of people, you know. It just made them feel like they can do things that they thought they never could have.
Joined the choir. Nate is the one that got me up leading because I was always stage frightened and I didn't think I could lead, but he the one got me to lead in songs. Nate was a good person, and it was either Nate's way or the highway, and I can understand that because he just wanted everything done right.
He will truly be missed. He was also like a father figure in my life growing up around the Edwards family. Mr. Edwards would push me to direct the offering songs every Sunday morning.
He was really a gifted and God-fearing man that taught us well, and he loved what he did for us.
Nate and I were very good friends. I learned a lot from him, and I will really miss him. Physically, I will miss him, but spiritually and mentally, he'll always be with me. And it was a pleasure knowing him.
And so Mama Mariah ended up being a choir, and you know, I watched everything that my dad did. You know, I watched everything from, you know, teaching other people, photography. He'd take me to the photography studio. He's one of the first black photographers in professional photographers in Milwaukee.
Oh, Mr. Edwards, I miss you. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to have the internship at your photography studio. And you didn't have to do that, but you are one of my heroes, being the first black man that I knew to own a photography studio.
And later on at that MATC where he went, he actually ended up being the only black instructor there as a photographer. I mean, he pretty much left there and went right back and started teaching there. I really enjoyed seeing him at work as a photographer and as a musician, as a choir director.
Uncle Nate was a valuable asset to our church. He wasn't just an encouragement to me, but he was an encouragement to almost everybody here. He was the type of individual wouldn't mind telling you what he thought. He encouraged me when I did good, when something he didn't quite go along with. He was very respectable. Even at his age and at my age, he would still come and talk to me. Tell me, Pastor, well, I think you should have did it like this. And most of the time, he was right. I take a look at what he did, what he said, and after I thought about it for a while, I said, yeah, I guess he does know what he's talking about. He's gonna be sorely missed here. I lost my father when I was young, but God stepped in and put him in his stead, and I truly appreciate it. You're gonna be missed, Doc, and I love you.
Granddad and I's relationship was unique, at least unique for me in my life. We would have these sometimes several hour-long discussions about hot button topics, difficult to talk about issues that people generally prefer to stay away from. And what's notable about that is when you're coming from two different ends of the age spectrum, it can sometimes be a challenge to relate to one another. It was refreshing with him because I never felt disrespected for being young. He always made a genuine effort to understand not only my perspective, but also the perspectives of others, as well as his own. He truly did value thinking introspectively and the significance of being able to reflect on the origin of one's own thoughts and feelings in order to understand others. Of all of his qualities, it was definitely the one that I found to be the most admirable.
He just put into motion what he had done his whole life. So, you know, he came back with his camera, and he came back with his skills to build people up in choirs, and you know, he started all over the city. He started working with different choirs all over the city. He started taking pictures. He just started doing it. He wasn't asking for any money. He just wanted to do it. When the mayor, Marion Wilder, when she became the mayor, he was already, you know, helping her as a choir director. But when she became the mayor, he says, "Is there anything I can do to help you?" You know, and she started to ask him to, you know, be the director of the, you know, community choirs around Christmas and around New Year's Eve. So he would take pictures for her as the mayor's photographer, and then he do holiday specials as a choir director.
They always, you don't have too many people you can just call and say, I need this done, and don't have to worry about it. Miss Baby, the kind of person. You say, Miss Lady, I need you to do this on this day. He'll say what time you need to be there. He's gonna have everything in advance, ready and prepared.
I think every kid that has the opportunity, looks at their dad and he has a little bit of a hero spot in their heart. My dad was that, by the way. Just to see his work ethic. I'd hate days where it's middle of the summer and I wanted to go play basketball with my friends, but he'd make me get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and go change the oil in the car, or build a fence around the backyard or something like that. I hated those days. All my friends are off. Hey, Terrell, you gonna come play basketball? And I'm here working. So but there were Saturdays when they would have choir rehearsal, and I would just watch and see how he would teach the different parts. And at the time, he never played the piano, but he had this ear that he knew an E flat. He knew a C just by hearing it, and he could teach the parts, without even playing, by ear. And it was incredible, and the sound that he'd have for 30 or 40 people was incredible. So I would basically go home and study what he'd done. Yeah, he's a perfectionist, man. I can tell you that. Like everything that we did, that I was involved in with Dad, it just seemed like it took so long because, we were just doing it over and over and over again, man. And I was like, man, this is good, it's good enough. And it wasn't good enough for him. So everything he did, man, he did it to perfection.
Put my boots on. Otherwise, I mess up my in-house footwear.
Oh yeah, you can't mess up the in-house footwear. Didn't know it then, but now I can see myself, not wanting to settle for just mediocrity. When I know that I could do better, or building a team of people, I know that we can do better, and so yeah, absolutely. But trust me, when I was the student, it wasn't fun. We got some more over here, except the baby. But as you can see, we don't have a lack of goat here. The whole photography thing. I really hurt my dad's feelings, to be honest with you, because he spent a lot of time with me at that photography studio, and I was like, man, Dad, you're wasting your time on this because I don't want to be a photographer, and I really broke his heart with that. But I did want to be a musician, and that's actually where my passion was. So I took up, saxophone, guitar. I eventually started taking up piano on my own later on, as when I became an adult, But he was really concerned. And what I didn't know was how much of a passion he had to be a musician, but. Remember back those days, in Carthage, Mississippi, he just didn't see a path to do that. So he kind of discouraged me to take that path. But, I'm my dad's son. And once I decided I was going to do something, he created that monster. So, I tell you one thing, the passion I have for music definitely came from him. I thought it just came natural, man. It's like, and it did. I was looking at my sister and my uncles, and we go back and we visit in Mississippi with my cousins. We all could sing. I was like, man, it's just like, it's one of those things where if it comes natural and it feels good to do, and it's making other people feel good, then figure out a way to do it. It just seemed to work out for me. As a business, the business aspect of who my dad was and his entrepreneurial spirit, just bled over into my music career, and other endeavors that I decided to take on. But he would always say, and he lived it, always have an ace in the hole, which basically meant know how to do more than one thing. The road to keeping food on the table is to give back to other people, because as long as you're giving back to other people, you don't have to worry about where things are coming from, because you're just giving and it'll come back.